Hello, I'm Rupert Reyes. I'm one of the co-authors of the bilingual play Cenicienta. Cenicienta is our version of Cinderella, but it's not the traditional Cinderella that you may be thinking of. It's actually the idea that a Cinderella sometimes means an underdog. It might be a baseball team, it might be an athlete. And in our case, it's a young woman named Belinda, who is an underdog and a Cinderella, and has to struggle to overcome adversity to succeed. Now, why bilingual? Well, in this case, it's Spanish and English, and it's Spanish and English simultaneously. And why do I do that? Well, because when I write as a playwright, I like to try to make sure that I incorporate Spanish into my plays. Language is a very, very important part of one's culture, and being of Mexican-American descent, I like to try to keep that culture alive. Now, how do I do it? Well, I do it in a manner that's probably best illustrated by giving you an example from the script. Cenicienta is a solo artist piece based on object puppetry. And in this case, we have the opening of the play with a two-headed lamp, Gustavo and Ernesto. And they're speaking both in Spanish and English simultaneously. Gustavo says, "Ay, tanto ruido. Oye, Ernesto, what's all that racket upstairs?" And Ernesto says, "Oh, that's the step family." And Gustavo, "¿Quién?" Ernesto, "Las hermanastras y la madrastra." Ernesto, or Gustavo, "Huh? Why do you call them a step family?" Ernesto, "Porque viven arriba, up all those stairs." So you can see in this little dialogue, which again, granted in a theater piece, you are actually watching the actors, or in this case, these objects, and they're indicating something is upstairs, and they're indicating that there's noise. So probably through a sound cue, we're hearing all the rumbling going on upstairs. So when Gustavo says, "Ay, qué tanto ruido," what's all that racket upstairs? We get both the Spanish and the English that there is some racket, that there's noise going on upstairs, without breaking the rhythm of the dialogue. "Ay, tanto ruido, ¿qué? Oye, Ernesto, what's all that racket upstairs?" Imagine that if we just parroted that. "Ay, tanto ruido. Oh, wow, all that noise." Then it gets kind of redundant and it doesn't move smoothly. "¿Por qué viven arriba, up all those stairs?" Well, there you go, you get it again. "Por qué viven arriba, up all those stairs?" The actor gestures upstairs. We hear up those stairs, we hear arriba, both meaning the same thing, but one being said in Spanish, one being said in English. Now, how do you watch a bilingual play? Well, I would just say, just watch. Remember that when you don't speak Spanish and you're hearing somebody speak Spanish, it may get a little bit hard for you to realize that you're not understanding what's happening. But as you watch the play, as you watch the performance, you watch the interaction of the actors, the incorporation of all the elements, you will begin to understand it. I promise you. So enjoy Cenicienta.